Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
Well. This surprises me and doesn't surprise me all at the same time. Let's check this out. It surprises me because the amount of hate that I saw that Justice League was given, I did not realize that The Last Jedi would eclipse that, would be more than that, you know? And I'm not surprised because I know I was unhappy and a lot of fans were unhappy, including Mark Hamill himself. So I just didn't think it would come in like that. So, Movie Web says, The Last Jedi on Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score is lower than Justice League. This is interesting. Let's check this out. Let's find out why. Well, it's hard to say anyone saw this coming. Star Wars The Last Jedi has finally arrived in theaters and fans are super excited about it. Or at least they were. There was a ton of hype leading up to this release, and deservedly so, considering all the questions Star Wars fans had after watching Star Wars The Force Awakens 2 years ago. However, things are not going according to plan as The Last Jedi now has a shockingly low audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes. How low? Believe it or not, it's even lower than the score Justice League currently has. This likely comes as a huge surprise to anyone who was following the news leading up to the release of Star Wars The Last Jedi. Following the movie's world premiere, the social media reactions were almost universally positive. That led to an incredibly positive first wave of reviews from critics. The movie currently holds a 93% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which means nothing to me, as you guys know. Which is great and ranks amongst the highest in the entire franchise. However, audiences don't seem to agree with the critics on this one, as the audience rating is at an abysmal 56%. To say at least, this is not what Disney, Lucasfilm, or director Rian Johnson had in mind. To put that in perspective, Justice League, a movie that isn't what one would call a critical darling, currently is boasting a 40% critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Actually has a much better audience rating. As this writing, Warner Bros. Latest DC movies has an 80% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes. That shocks me. This is just one example. But in both cases, we see that audiences can dramatically disagree with critics. Though in the case of Star Wars, this is pretty unprecedented. As hard as it may be to believe, as of this writing, Star Wars The Last Jedi is actually the lowest rated movie in terms of audience rating in the entire Star Wars franchise on Rotten Tomatoes. It's close, but Star Wars Attack of the Clones barely edges it out at 57%. The Phantom Menace is next at 59%. Considering how much Star Wars fans seem to hate those movies, it's pretty amazing that The Last Jedi is ranked so low by those who have seen it. But it's also worth noting that critics were much closer in alignment with fans on the prequels, as Attack of the Clones has a 66% and The Phantom Menace has a 55%. So, what does this mean? The audience score could change as more people see the Star Wars The Last Jedi movie, but at the very least, this is a divisive movie. Yes, it is. Divisive movie. That could be problematic, as Lucasfilm has already handed Rian Johnson control of a new Star Wars trilogy. which he's going to plan out and will direct at least the first installment of. Given Lucasfilm's rough history with directors, having fired Phil Lord and Chris Miller from the Han Solo movie, damn, I didn't know they got rid of 2 directors for that, and Josh Trank from Boba Fett, god damn, not to mention the issue with Rogue One, can they really afford to have another director kicked off the project? Bring Lucas back! Bring Lucas back! We need you, George! Come on, man! Come on! You can do it. Come on. That's not to say audience reaction will ensure that's going to happen. But Disney and Lucasfilm will have to take that into account, even if Star Wars The Last Jedi dominates at the box office, which it looks like it's going to. In any case, this Rotten Tomatoes score for Star Wars The Last Jedi is very interesting, as pretty much everyone expected this movie to be a home run for the franchise. There are no sure things in this business. Well, Mark, I think you had something correct when you told us that a lot of people may not like it. Or at least you didn't like it. One of Mark's laughing. Like, I told you. I told the producers. I told the director. Don't go this way with my character. But he wouldn't listen. Now you see what's happening to the fandom. They hate the movie like I hate Batman. Who knows what the fuck is going on? But I gave it a 2. I know. I do not believe it in itself as a movie is a bad movie. What I believe is just that the way they went with it, the story, the angles, the characters, everything that they did, fans fucking did not like, including myself and Mr. Hamill, greatest Joker of all time, so, and one of the greatest heroes of all time on film, so, I think this speaks volumes because critics look at movies differently, but fans are the biggest portion of who goes to the movies. And as just in my personal view, in my opinion, if you're going to look at any rating, if you are a fan of something, you're going to look at the audience's rating on something. You're not going to look at the critics' rating. There are certain critics that I trust. One in particular is Jeremy Jahns, because something about him always seemed like a nice mix of a critic and a fan for me. He was nice thrown together like that, so and there's a few others out there that I like, but they tend to be more like critics, and I watch them because I respect their opinions and I like to hear what they say. But a fan of something is truly, I think, what's going to can give you a true reading on what a movie, how good a movie is. The audience, the broad audience, just put it that way. Not even a fan, because sometimes fans can be delusional or they can be biased, overly biased in certain ways, So just the audience, just the big movie-going crowd, I think their opinion is more important. They're the ones who pay anyway, So post comments down below. Let me know what you all think about this. It is what it is. When it comes down to what it comes down to me though is, did I like the movie? No matter what fans say as a whole, no matter what critics say as a whole, what matters to me is if I enjoy the movie, because I'm the one that will enjoy it for years to come, because I'm the one that's going to buy it on Blu-ray. If it came out in 3D, I'm going to buy it on 3D because I got 3D TV just so I can enjoy 3D movies. You know what I mean? So, and I particularly didn't enjoy the movie and I won't be buying it, So, post comments down below. Let me know what y'all thought. If you enjoyed my video, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. And if you did not, you can kiss my and Mr. Hamill's black derrieres. Yes, Tyrone Magnus has given him a soul card for today. 10 million subscribers. Woo!
You may now subscribe.